Hare Krishna. I'm very happy and honored to be with all of you today. So, as we said, we will have a Japa improvement seminar. A small disclaimer. This will be also preaching to myself, not just from me to you. Hare Krishna. First, I would like to ask you a question. What is your real ardent desire in your life? Please think a little bit, and if someone is ready to say something, please share with us. What is your desire? Most intense desire in life? Please.
Yeah, my desire is to have more faith in Krishna than in anything material, and that also means that I want to have more faith in the Holy Name. The realization that there is nothing which can surpass the Holy Name, and if I take shelter in the Holy Name, then that's it. I'm safe, and I don't want to get disturbed by all this, so many material things and challenges and this and that, personal and whatever, social. So this is my desire to find, as Krishna says, Savadhamam Vriteja, Mamekam Sharanam Raja, Aham Tvam Sarvabhavamikshishami. Mashucha is also very important. Don't fear or don't mind, or everything is all right.
Great. Thank you very much. Is there any other thought? Anyone, please?
Thank you. Actually, my desire is to participate in the mission of Bhagavata and to do as much as possible in my material lifetime to contribute in this mission.
Okay, thank you. Very great desires. Okay, anyone else?
I think it's not just one desire, more desires, but all in the same direction. To love, to be happy, to learn, and to leave something positive. And Hare Krishna is a synonym of that in some way. So yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's very deep, yes. Exactly. This is all of our desires. Please.
I was thought that for this moment I'd like to be a part of real happiness. I don't want to be separate, but I want to be a part of Krishna, Leelas, or Srila Prabhupada, all this. To be a part of great mission. I don't want to be like here in material world and did not to know how to say it, and don't know what is happening like in reality, spiritual reality. Even if I can look like little bit, I will be also very happy.
Yes. Sarve sukhino bhavantu, it says in Shastras, that everyone should be happy. Yes, and this is in fact a craving of all living entities, to be happy, to enjoy. One Prabhupada was asked, what is the goal of life? And he said, to enjoy. But actually the living entities, they do not know how to enjoy. And what is enjoyment? So we try to enjoy in the way that doesn't touch us at all. Yes. So this is important that we know what we want in life, because it's the starting point to our journey to Krishna. And of course we know that the holy name is not different from Lord Krishna. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnakshido Nitya Mukto Bhinatvam Nama Namino. That means that the name and the named, that means Krishna, is the same, because Krishna is absolute. So his name is also absolute. There is no difference. And he's completely pure, Purna Shuddho, Nitya Mukto, and always liberated. That means the holy name doesn't come from this plane, material plane, that we can vibrate with by our tongues. It's completely transcendental. It uses our tongues to manifest in this world, according to our purity of purpose also. Yes, as is explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we live in the age of Kali, and it's said in Shastras, as you most probably know, Harir Nama, Harir Namaiva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyata. That we live in this age which is full of quarrel and hypocrisy, and the only way is chanting of Lord's holy name, Lord's holy name, Lord's holy name. Yes, when Shastras mentioned one thing once, it's really important, isn't it? Why would Vyasadeva wrote something in the Shastras if it wouldn't be important? He didn't have a quota to write so much pages that he would put something unimportant in Shastras. So if something is mentioned once, is very, very important. If it is mentioned twice, is of utmost importance. But if it is mentioned thrice, it is completely unavoidable and necessary in our life. So here in one verse, it is twice said, three times, 2 times, 3 times. Yes. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama. God's name, God's name, God's name. Yeah. Harir Namaiva Kevalam. And it is confirmed. Eva means certainly, cannot be avoided. And Kevalam, only this. That means 2 times confirmed. Namaiva Kevalam. Kalau, that means in the age of Kali. Nasti means that there is not. Nast Eva, and again this Eva is used. Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva. There is not, certainly there is not, certainly there is not, certainly there is not. Gatiranyata, other path, other goal, and other path. So, there is no other way to approach Krishna but through his holy name. And as explained by Jiva Goswami in Bhakti-yoga, in the age of Kali, in all our worship of Krishna, also with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakyam Atma, Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam, we should, this ways of worshipping Krishna, of devotional service to Krishna, should be accompanied by chanting of Lord's holy name. So, from beginning to end, in Kali Yuga, there is holy name to be chanted. Yes, and it's said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kaler dosha nitirajan asti heka mahan guna. Kirtanat eva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajit. That in this age of Kali, the age of Kali by itself is an ocean of faults. Everything is wrong in the age of Kali. And we can see in our world, we live in this world. The air is polluted, the water is polluted, food is polluted, everything is polluted. The relationships are polluted. Our mind is polluted, full of hatred, hypocrisy, quarrel, everywhere. So it's this ocean of faults. And this ocean has no boundaries and no bottom. Endless ocean of faults. But there is one mahaguna, one great quality in this age. And this is kirtanat eva krishnasya. And this also this eva is used, certainly. Kirtanat eva krishnasya mukta sangha. By this chanting of the holy name, we can get liberated from any attachment. Mukta sangha param vrajit, and achieve the highest possible attainment. Yes. So, in order to qualitatively chant the holy name, we should know, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 3 things. And this is Sambandha Jnana, Abhidaya Jnana, and Prayojana Jnana. Sambandha, as you may know, means our connection to Krishna. And I believe you all used, for example, Google Maps or any other GPS to come to one destination. Is it true? You have used it? So in order to go somewhere, using GPS, for example, first, what do you have to know? Destination, yes, where you want to go. And then, other thing you need to know?
The route.
Yes.
Your present location.
Yes, your present location, where you are located. Otherwise, you maybe know the goal, but if you don't know where you are, you cannot get there. You don't know where to go if you don't know where you are. Maybe your goal is south of you, and you go north because you think it's maybe north. I know where I want to come, but I don't know where to go. So first I have to know my location. And this is Sambandha Jnana. This is our location. And what is Sambandha Jnana? Do you have any idea?
The knowledge of your position, where you stand.
Yes, and what is it?
Your relationship to Krishna.
Yes, and what is our relationship to Krishna?
Servant. We are the instrument of the Lord, and we are his servant of his servants.
Yes, yes. It says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivara Swarupa Hoy, Krishna Nitya Das. That we are always the servant. Nitya Das. Nitya means always, eternally. We are eternally servants of Krishna. And we should realize this fact, in fact. Yes. What does it mean to be a servant? And this means in all situations in life, we are servants. And because Krishna is absolute, That means everything is emanation from Krishna. Every living entity is emanation from Krishna. Every atom is emanation of Krishna. Everything we see, everything we hear, everything we breathe, everything is connected to Krishna. So, in order to understand what is Jivara Swarupa Hoy Krishna Nityadas, that we are Nityadas, that means we are a servant of everything and everyone and everything. In fact, because everything is connected to Krishna. Yeah, and this is Sambandha Jnana. And with this Sambandha Jnana, we should approach also the Holy Name. We are servants of the Holy Name. We don't use Holy Name for our service. This is important to know. Because in usual religious dealings with God, for what purpose people approach God? To get something. Yes. And according to their by which mode they are influenced, they approach accordingly. For example, they can approach by prayer that they would be happy in this life, to get material things. For example, money or car or good wife, good husband, or maybe they're more in mode of goodness and they pray for peace, for good relationships, for loving relationships in this world, for health. This is very usual prayer. And for and if the person is in the mode of tamas, and that means in ignorance, he prays for destruction of his enemies. Yes. In Slovenian we have a proverb that envious person wants his neighbor cow to die.
Poor cow.
Yes. Because he's envious. So he may pray to God that neighbor's cow would die. Yes. So these are different prayers to God in different modes of nature. But as we established, we are Krishna's servants. We are not we are not meant to demand Krishna anything. We are just meant to serve him. And this is in fact the mystery of this world. It brings utmost pleasure. Service. Of course, it's not our goal to, shouldn't be our goal to enjoy pleasure, but service is pleasure. And that's why Krishna is always serving to every living entity, because he provides everything, even to those who hate him. He always serves. And he serves all his devotees in different manners, according to their relationship with him. Yes. So service is, in fact, the way to enjoy. Because at the beginning we said that enjoyment is the goal of life. And it's also said in Shastras that Ananda Mayobhyasat, the living entities are meant to be always happy, and we cannot live without happiness, even for a moment. Every our thought, every our word, every our action is seeking happiness, if we know this or not. So, of course, we should know what brings happiness. Yes, and we should strive in the right direction. So Sambandha Jnana means that we know our position, that we are always servant in every situation, in every relationship, in a relationship with father or mother, in a relationship with husband or wife, in a relationship with children, if you're a teacher or student or anything, if we do our job or whatever, we are always the servant, but not the servant of some crazy materialist, in the sense that we menially serve him, because of course we are also his servant, because he's emanating from Krishna. But we are Krishna's servants and servants of Krishna's devotees. That means that if we, of course, serve some materialist, we should serve him to facilitate him to approach Krishna. This is our service to other living entities, to facilitate them to approach Krishna. Yes, not that they send us to buy alcohol for them, and we just say, yes, I'm your servant. No, this is service in ignorance. So we should serve in transcendental consciousness. That means that we try to engage every living entity in Krishna's service. Yes. Okay, so this is Sambandha Jnana, that we know our starting point. And then we should know the Prayojana Jnana, that means our what? What is Prayojana? The goal. The goal. We cannot practice, we cannot go to some path if we don't know where to go. We should know the goal. And the goal is what? What's the goal?
To serve Krishna.
Yes, to serve Krishna. Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema is the goal. Yes. Of course, it's service. We always serve. Even when we are completely materialistic, we serve. But of course, we should serve with the right consciousness. That's why it's called our movement, the Krishna consciousness movement. Yes. So our main purpose is to develop love of Krishna, because love brings utmost happiness. We cannot be happy even if we have everything in this world, if there is no loving relationship. For example, if we are alone in this world, but we can have everything we want. We can go to the most beautiful places, have everything, most delicious food, and whatever we want. But if we are alone in this world, we would be completely miserable. It would meant more than that one bird would fly to our finger, that we can have some relationship with it, than everything else. It would meant more for us. Yes. So loving relationship is the cause for happiness. But we know from this world, yehi sansparsha boga dukkha yona evati adyantavantah kantena teshu ramate buddha. Says Krishna in 5th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, that the wise man doesn't seek happiness in this world. Why? Yes, because it's limited, because it has its beginning and end. Yes, it's temporary. And it says dukkha yonaya. It gives birth, literally gives birth to suffering. If something brings us happiness in this world, and we see it as a pleasurable thing, it makes us suffer. This is the law, because we don't want to for something that we gives us pleasure, that we lose it. But it's the law of this nature that we lose everything. So everything will be lost in this world. All our relationships will be lost. Everything we have will be lost. Everything will be lost. Our husband, our wife, our children, our parents. We lose everything without the exception. So the only thing that we should strive for is loving relationship with the absolute truth. Absolute. That means Krishna. And as you said, Krishna Prema is specifically for Krishna, not other avatars of Krishna. This is also important to know. For example, Narottam Das Thakur, he says in Prema Varta Chandrika that he sets example of interestingly of Hanuman. He said that we should be so fixed in Krishna as Hanuman is in Ramachandra. And he cites Hanuman, and he said that Hanuman says that yes, I know that Narayan and Ramachandra are the same person. Both are super soul in my heart. But nevertheless, only Ramachandra is my Lord. So only Krishna is our Lord. And this is also the reason Lord Chaitanya came, to teach us Krishna Prema, to plunder the storehouse of Krishna Prema and deliver it to everyone. So we should understand this, that Krishna is our only goal, in fact, not other destinations. Krishna. Yes. And this is explained also by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita. He says, Vaikuntha Janito Varama Madhupuri Tatrapi Rasotsavat Vrindaranam Udari Paniramanat Tatrapi Govardhana Radha Kunda Mihapi Gopika Kale Premramrita Pralavanat Kuryatasya Karoviditate Sivam Vivekinakaha. Maybe I missed something, but this is from Upadeshamrita, the nectar of instructions. And Rupa Goswami said that we should know that Vrindavan is higher than Vaikuntha, because in fact, the Mathura is higher than Vaikuntha, because Krishna was born there. And higher than Mathura is Vrindavan, because Krishna had many pastimes in Vrindavan. But higher than Vrindavan is Govardhan, because Krishna had many intimate pastimes in Govardhan, and he held it on his little finger for 7 days. And even higher than Govardhan is Radha Kunda. And then he asks a rhetorical question: who wouldn't serve Radha Kunda, who is full of Krishna prema, premamrita plavanat, that is overflowed by prema. Yes. So as we can see from this statement of Rupa Goswami, the highest goal is in fact to serve Krishna in his most intimate pastimes. And one verse before, he says, Syanama Rupa Charitadi Sikirtananu Smrityoh Kramena Rasanama Nasini Yojya Tishtan Vrajeta Tadanragi Jananugami Kalam Nayeta Kilam Itupadesha Saram. That Upadesha Saram, the gist of all instruction, the most important of all instruction, is to always glorify Lord's pastimes and qualities, and to always remember his pastimes and qualities, and to live in Vrindavan and follow the Vrajavasis, and this in all the time. What does it mean for us who live here? You live here in Vienna, and we live also in other places. So we should live in our internal Vrindavan. That means wherever is Krishna, there is Vrindavan. If we remember Krishna, we live in Vrindavan. And Vrajavasi, who is Vrajavasi? Prabhupada is Vrajavasi. Prabhupada lived in Vrindavan, and when he left Vrindavan, he left it just apparently. He never left Vrindavan, because he always carried Vrindavan in his heart. So we always have to live in Vrindavan, and always follow the footsteps of Vrajavasis, as Prabhupada, and serve internally to Radha and Krishna. And the highest way how to serve Radha and Krishna is to chant their holy names. Because we should know that these three names, Hare, Krishna and Rama, Hare is Radharani, is Krishna's pleasure potency. And she's Prema Rupa. What does it mean, Prema Rupa? The form of love. The form of love. Yes. So Radharani is the form of love. Hare means the form of love. And Krishna is, of course, Krishna, the most attractive one. But he's also attracted by love. So, although Krishna is Atmarama, he's satisfied in himself, and Aptakama, that means everything he desires, everything becomes true, even before he desired. He nevertheless is attracted by love. That means love of Krishna is more powerful than Krishna himself. It has attractive power, and it says in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, it's Shri Krishna Akarshini. That pure devotional service, this love of Krishna is Shri Krishna Akarshini, that attracts the all attractive. Yes. So, in order to connect with Krishna through holy name, in this consciousness, we should always know this fact that we are calling for Radha and Krishna. Yes. If we forget this, then we disconnect from Radha and Krishna. This is important to know. Yes. And this is in fact Abhideya. What is Abhideya? Abhideya is the path to the goal. So now we know our standing point. We are servants of Krishna, servants of Radha and Krishna. We know our destination, as you said, love of Krishna, Krishna Prema, and in fact it's as servants of Radha and Krishna, servants of maid servants of Radharani. And so we know our standing point and our destination, so we should know also our path, and this is Abhidaya. And this is also explained in Upadeshamrita. Upadeshamrita, I recommend you to study it. It's a small booklet, but it's full of profound wisdom, and of course we should know it very thoroughly. So Abhidaya is explained one verse before, and it says, Sat Krishna Nama Charitadvi Sutapya Vidya Pitopatapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintvadaratu Adunatinam Kela Seva Jushta Svadvikramat how it ends? I forgot. And it says that it's interesting that we are Shigarnitai ki jai. We are influenced by the jaundice of avidya. Avidya means what? Ignorance. Yes, ignorance. We are sick by this sickness, illness of jaundice. Jaundice, you know what is jaundice?
Gelbsucht in German.
In German.
Yellow. Gelb means yellow.
How do you say it again? Gelbsucht. Yeah. Okay. So jaundice, avidya, ignorance of this Gelbsucht. So why he called this ignorance jaundice? Do you know? Anyone knows?
Because when you have it, your liver cannot get rid of the toxins, and when you're in ignorance, you also have a lot of toxicity inside.
No.
Maybe because Prabhupada it is given the example that it can be eaten by sugar.
Yes. In jaundice, you don't have capacity to taste sugar, to taste any sweet. In fact, it seems very bitter to you. Yes. If you tried sugar when you have jaundice, it tastes very bitter. But this is not the nature of sugar to be bitter. It's sweet, but you're not able to taste its sweetness because you're ill. So Rupa Goswami says that because of this jaundice of avidya, the sugar you taste is bitter for you. But the only cure for jaundice, it is said, it is sugar itself. So you should take sugar to get rid of jaundice, to get cured from jaundice. And when you are cured, then you will be able to taste sugar as sweet, because it is sweet. And so because of our avidya, ignorance, we cannot taste the holy name and pastimes of the Lord as sweet, but they're most sweet. They're not just sweet, they're most sweet. and the cure is, as in jaundice, we should take these sweet holy names and pastimes, and gradually our illness will be um, uprooted. So we naturally can taste the sweetness of holy name and Lord's pastimes and so on. Yes. So I find this very, very nice example of Rupa Goswami. And in fact, why is this most sweet thing tastes bitter to us or to anyone? I don't know, maybe you have full of taste.
Like a medicine. Medicine is also bitter.
Yes, but this medicine is sweet, but tastes bitter. Yes. Why this avidya causes bitterness of sweet thing, of sweet holy names?
It crushes the ignorance.
Yes, the holy name. But why is it why it's not sweet for us, for the person who is influenced by avidya?
Good question.
Do you have any ideas?
Maybe because our sins are limited, or we are limited to receive the love, to taste it.
Yes. Okay.
When our consciousness is covered by ignorance, then we cannot taste the original nature, and to serve unconditionally appears bitter to us, because we function on the basis of aham, mama.
Mm-hmm.
So we cannot taste the nectar of the holy Krishna's nature.
Yes. In fact, we don't have real faith in it. We think our other things will give us pleasure.
Yes, we don't have the desire also.
Yes, yes. And this is, everything is diseased condition, in fact. Diseased condition. Yes. We mentioned before that we should be fixed only in Krishna. And is interestingly, I thought about how, because Krishna comes in different forms, isn't it? For example, he has these dashavataras. For example, of course, we know that he comes in unlimited different forms, but most known are his dashavatara. This means 10 avatars. And I was thinking about how these dashavatars all point us and lead us to Krishna. For example, if we go through these avatars, Matsya avatar, his first avatar. What is Matsya? Fish. Fish avatar, yes. And what does he do?
Saves the Vedas.
Yes, he saves the Vedas, yes, and Maharaj Priyavrata. So when there is deluge, flood of...
Warns Manu, no?
Hmm?
He warns Manu.
Yes, he warns, and so and when is this flood of ignorance in our life, we always have to rely on the Lord, in every situation. In different pastimes the Lord had in these dasha avatars, it is in fact our reminder that we should always rely on the Lord, that we should always turn to the Lord. For example, when it's this flood of ignorance, only the Lord is our hope. And Matsya has this role of leading us through ignorance, from this flood of ignorance. And the next avatar is Kurma avatar. What is Kurma? Turtle, yes. And when does he appear? In what pastimes?
The demons and the demigods want to, how to say,
Churn
the ocean
of milk, yes. So the demons and demigods agreed to cooperate in order to get the nectar of immortality from the ocean of milk. So this is our spiritual practice. We agree, our demoniac and divine nature agree to cooperate to get nectar. Of course, as long as we are not pure, the demonic forces are more powerful than divine, and that was also the case in this lila. The demoniac forces in the universe more powerful than divine, and they cooperated in churning the ocean. But they used for churning rod the Mandara mountain, and it was so heavy that it was sinking in this ocean of milk. So in every way, and this both parties needed the Lord in order to be successful in any way. So Kurma went under the mountain that it didn't sink, and so he was support of this mountain. So in our spiritual practice, when we churn our ocean of milk of the heart, we should also rely on the Lord. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to engage in spiritual practice at all. And it's interesting. What was the first thing that came out of the ocean? You remember? Poison. Yes. So we churn our heart with spiritual practice to get nectar. And at the beginning, the poison comes out. That's interesting. For example, if we decide to tidy our room after a long time, and we sweep it and so on, first the big clouds of dust come and it looks more messy than when we started, isn't it? So when we start the spiritual journey, all this poison starts to come out of the heart. Or when we and did you try to make a ghee yourself from the butter? All these impurities comes out of the butter, and when you think that it's over, then starts again. And this is our spiritual path. It's also like this. Always comes something out, and especially in the beginning, the poison comes out. All our bad habits, all our attachments to material things, And this is also the theme of Bhagavad Gita, in fact, to be faced with our attachments. For example, Krishna inspired Arjuna to ask him to drive him in the middle of both armies. And of course, Krishna is expert, and he drove Arjuna in front of Bhishma and Drona, who are most venerable for Arjuna. And he said, just see all the Kurus that assembled here. And Arjuna broke because he saw that in both armies there were his relatives, his friends, his teachers. Yes, and he said, I cannot kill them. Why should we engage in such ghastly affair? We should not make quarrel with our relatives and friends for some selfish purpose, as is this kingdom. It's better to live as an ascetic in the forest than to live for the blood of the relatives and friends. So his logic was very interesting and appealing for us. But this is our approach in life, also in spiritual life. What we do, as Krishna exposed Arjuna, and he said, while you're speaking very learned words, you're lamenting for something that is not worthy of lamenting. So we usually cloak, envelop our weaknesses in the garb of some virtue. For example, Arjuna, he was citing very sound logic, and he appeared to be very virtuous in his determination not to kill his relatives and friends. But in fact, this was his weakness. This was his anartha, unwanted thing, because he should follow his duty and serve the Lord. And what he did, he presented his doubts and his weaknesses in very attractive, very virtuous manner. And so we do also like this in our life. When we face something with our attachments, we usually have some virtuous reason why to keep them. We don't want to be exposed as a attached materialist, but we give some virtuous reasons why these attachments, and we don't call them attachments, but why this is good for us and for the world. Yes, and so these attachments and everything else inhibits our connection with the holy name, as we said before. That's why it tastes bitter for us, because it's pure, and we are attached to something impure. So we are in diseased condition. Okay. Do you have any questions so far, or comments?
Yes, so
for the question how to increase faith in the holy name is by eating more sugar, yes, by
Take
chanting,
chanting more, yes.
yes, chanting more. But it's quite difficult if you're alone living in the city, right? So you're not in the community of an ashram where every morning everybody's chanting together, yes, which is easier because it's done together. But like this, if you have to do it alone, to prioritize chanting, it's quite a challenge for some or for many, or you know. So yes, how to prioritize this, or how to strengthen the sadhana, how to
Yes, this is a classical question.
yes. I know, but still
Yes.
for all of us.
We have to first be convinced that this is the only solution in my life. If we are not convinced, we will not take it very seriously. So, in order to get this conviction, we should keep association of convinced devotees, of those who are convinced, who are very serious in their spiritual life. And this is really important because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Hare Krishna, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that the association of those who are not serious in devotional service, in devotional practice, is worse than association with materialists. And he calls them dharma dvajis. Dvaji is the one who is waving with the flag. So I'm a devotee, and he has this sticker, devotee. But if he's not serious enough, he has more detrimental influence on us than materialists, because we say, oh, he's devotee, and he doesn't seems to need so strict devotional service. Why should I have? But if we associate with those who are very strict in devotional service, who are convinced that this is the only way in my life, then we will also become convinced. Because this is our impression from, and we are influenced by impressions in our life. Yes, very much. And this is also one of the causes of inattentive chanting. Here I have from excerpts from Harinam Chintamani. He cites 3 causes of inattentive chanting. And the first thing is indifference. We are indifferent to the holy name because we want to accumulate wealth and associate with opposite sex and so on. We want to have name and fame and want to be rich and so on. So if we have other goals in our life, whatever they may be, we become indifferent to the holy name, or we are not so fixed in the holy name. But as we said in the beginning, the holy name is our only path to the Lord, to achieve our goal, what we really want. So we have to have this conviction always in our mind, and that we should completely dedicate our time for holy name. For example, Does anyone of you work outside in some job? I know you are working there sometimes. So if job starts at, I don't know, 9 o'clock, 6:30. So are you there at that time?
Yeah.
Every time?
No, sometimes I'm in the afternoon, but mostly morning. Yes.
No, okay, but when the job starts, you are always on time.
Yeah, I have to be.
Yes, you have to be.
And there's this electronic system.
Yes.
Everyone's like.
So you're very diligent to be punctual at the time on your job. So because it's important to you to have your job.
Yeah, and I also don't want to upset anyone.
Yes.
Get into trouble. I don't like trouble.
Yes, of course. Yes, exactly. That is my point. Because we don't want to have to be miserable. Because if everyone is disturbed and we are in trouble, we are miserable. We don't want to be miserable. We want to be happy. So if we have such a job, we should be on time. And we have to have this consciousness also with the holy name. Holy name is much more important than a job. Or in fact anything else in this world. So we should have this conviction at the beginning. The holy name is my everything. So my quality time should be dedicated exclusively for the holy name. If we don't have this conviction, it will be very hard. Then everything will be important at that moment. So to have enough sleep, to have nice breakfast and lunch and dinner, and to take care of our children, to take care of our husband or wife, and so on. So many other engagements, and to go through my phone. So in order to be really convinced, we should seek the association of convinced people. That's why it's also very important to be connected to our guru, who's supposed to be completely convinced about the holy name. So yes, even if we can't associate physically, if we have no so much association, we should associate in our heart by hearing Krishna Katha, by advanced devotees, and so on, and by reading Prabhupada's books and other devotional texts. Yes, and in this way we can be convinced. And of course, we should avoid seeking pleasure outside of Krishna consciousness. This is very important. If we seek pleasure outside of Krishna consciousness, our conviction will go very deep, will drop drastically. Yes.
Examples?
For example,
Drugs. Drugs.
drugs, for example,
Cinema.
cinema, yes, non-devotional books, TV,
Also non-devotional friends, huh?
non-devotional friends.
I feel it very much with music. Like if I hear depressive music, my mood is like.
Yes.
It gets worse and worse. Like
Yes, of course. Everything influences our consciousness. and different moods influence our consciousness, and so also different spiritual consciousness influences our consciousness. So we should be very careful in our experiences.
Movies, Netflix, I guess.
Yes, of course, of course. And Grihastas should be very careful about this for their children, as we discussed yesterday. Yes, because if our children, devotee children, are exposed to other pleasure than Krishna consciousness, like to go to some, I don't know, pleasure park or I don't know where, to experience some pleasure outside of Krishna consciousness, they will be attached to it. And to be exposed to TV and these gadgets and so on. Games, yes. This is poison. This is in fact poison.
But it's difficult if you don't have other devotee kids, right? So if the kid is not having association with other children, devotee children, it's not so easy.
And then you give him some gadgets in the hands that you have peace from him.
You don't even have to give it, it's already magically there. I don't know.
All the kids just influenced, right? And they're like, look what I have, and they all want to belong together. And
Do you have children?
Yes,
Oh yes,
12 years old son. Yeah.
12 years old son, yes. I didn't allow my children to have these gadgets before secondary school
Yeah.
because they are poison.
Yeah.
They really are poison. And they didn't play any games and on computer games or something.
What is second grade? What age is this?
15.
15.
Yes, 15. At least in Slovenia,
Yeah.
it's like this. Here also in Austria. Yeah. 15, 16 years old. So at that time they know very well what is beneficial and what is not. And all their life, if they all their life had Jai Shri Gurnitai ki Jai. If all their life had they had pleasure in Krishna consciousness, they will always seek pleasure in Krishna consciousness and in association of Krishna's devotees. This is my experience with all 3 children. I have 3 children.
Pleasure in Krishna consciousness means kirtan, prasadam, cooking, or
Yes, everything.
festivals.
Festivals, association with devotees. For example, in Slovenia we have a yearly Padayatra, and this is the big enjoyment for children. They are very enthusiastic about it. And their Padayatra is in Slovenia and it's also in Czech Republic, isn't it?
Yes.
So I would recommend to every parent, devotee parent, to bring their children to Padayatra. It's not far. Czech Republic is very close, isn't it? To Vienna.
which is right there.
2 hours.
Yeah, I was Padayatra 2 years ago, yeah, in Czech.
Yes, isn't it every year?
It is every year. Yeah,
Every year.
yeah, I was only once
Uh-huh.
Padayatra.
Yes, this is recommended,
Yeah.
and that, and of course, this is the other theme. Of course, children upbringing in Krishna consciousness, but it's connected with the holy name. So we should be convinced ourselves, and then also others around us will get convinced. So we should try to give Krishna consciousness, not to receive some nonsense from others. Yes, this is important. So other factor of inattentive chanting is laziness, uh, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, as it is said in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Priyanalpayushak sabhya kalovasmin yuge jana mandaksu mandamatayo mandabhagya kupadrita, that in this age of Kali, people are very lazy and always disturbed. And of course they are lazy for spiritual progress. They're not lazy for material progress. Some are also lazy for material progress, but majority is not lazy for material progress. But they're completely lazy for their spiritual well-being. So, in order, and it's also connected with your question, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this solution, that we can see that the saintly person doesn't waste any time. So if we associate with such saintly person, then we also have this thought, and it says, "Alas, when will I become fortunate enough to chant, sing, and remember the holy names of the Lord like this saintly person?" So we should have role models, as we say, who are very much attached to the holy name in our life. And then by this lamentation about our condition, we'll get purified and get conviction that this is in fact the only way of living, worth living. Yes. So this spiritual laziness and restlessness is also the cause of inattentive chanting. And restlessness means, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that we want to finish our rounds as soon as possible. And this is offense. This is offensive. In fact, if we would have some intimate relationship with someone, maybe with our husband or wife or anyone else, really intimate relationship, and if we would like to finish our relationship as soon as possible, this would be very offensive, isn't it? We would be offended very much if someone would act in this way towards us. And if we act towards Krishna in this way, this is most offensive. So we should take time for our rounds, quality time, not to catch our rounds all day long, just to finish, just to make a tick. Yes, I finished. So if we just seek to have this tick, yes, I finished, then that will be our achievement. We will finish.
What would be actually the proper wording? Because some devotees sometimes say, I just need to finish my rounds, yeah? Like you just said, the word finish. So what would actually be the proper way to say it?
You mean the words? What
Yes,
would be
because
appropriate?
many times you hear that, I just need to finish my rounds, and it's actually not, it's already offensive, right? Because if it's a relationship,
Yes.
you don't also say, wait, I just need to finish
Fi-
my
Yes.
conversation, and and right, we need to change also the jargon, the wording.
Yes, of course, because it influences our consciousness,
Yeah, to put
our
things in
attitude.
perspective. Yeah.
Yes, it's true. We should say that we have to dedicate our time now for Krishna. Because chanting is dedicating our time for Krishna, in fact.
So I'm dedicating myself
to Krishna, yes, completely. And this should be our attitude during chanting. This is only Krishna, nothing else. Especially phones are the most deadly poison in chanting. So phones should be switched off and in other room, not in the same room if possible. Because it can attract our attention, and we should be very careful about this.
and also not reading, yeah, during chanting.
Yes.
Is also
Also not reading
and
Watching TV.
or watching TV. Yes,
very skillful.
I know one devotee. He was a devotee who said that he was watching the NBA league, the basketball, and chanting along, and the rounds were just flying. He said that this chanting was really good. The rounds were just flying. Yes.
But is inattentive chanting better than not chanting at all? Yes.
Yes, it is better. Yes, it is better.
What was the first reason for inattentive chanting? Laziness is the second.
And laziness is the second. Yes, the first is indifference.
Yes.
Indifference. Yes.
Indifference.
Yes, because we
Holy name is absolute like Krishna. Was this indifference? No. What was indifference?
indifference is that we consider other things more important in our life. For example, wealth, our name and fame. Yes.
I mean, many times we have so much seva to do.
Yes, chanting of the holy name is the most important seva. It's in fact this is the only thing, the spiritual thing that we promise to do to our guru.
Yes.
Because the four regulative principles are not spiritual things. It's just to avoid sinful life. And the only thing we promise our guru to do in spiritual life is to chant. So this is far most important seva we have. First is because this is intimate relationship with Krishna. There is no more intimate relationship than chanting of his holy names. Yes. So that should be our determination, that first thing in the morning we should chant the holy name. No other priority will come. No phone. Phone may come after the holy name, but first our rounds. Yes, and if possible, if at all possible, all our rounds in one go before breakfast. That is recommended. So that the first thing in the morning, we just dedicate ourselves completely to Krishna with chanting of the holy name. Of course, we should know this, our Sambandha Jnana and Prayojana Jnana. We should know why we're doing this. This is not just some duty. In fact, we shouldn't do it out of duty. For example, if husband would say, "Okay, I will dedicate you, my dear wife, 2 hours of my time because if this is my duty." The wife wouldn't be satisfied, would be. It's my duty, but I hardly wait that these 2 hours will. I have some other business to attend. Yes. So it should be our dedication. Yes. And this dedication would come only through understanding that Krishna is my only life. Yes. There is no other way.
I was reading something very nice from His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami. He said it's your date with Krishna.
Yes.
And he's waiting for you at 4 o'clock and you're not coming. You're ghosting Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see, like, because he's there every day waiting for you to come.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. This is very nice example.
Yeah.
Yes. You're dating Krishna and you come to be together.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not coming.
And you're not coming. Or you come with the phone in your hand. I come to date you, but I should check my emails and.
So is it also by the measure we take it serious, we dedicate ourselves, he is also revealing himself in our heart?
Yes, as he says in 4th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Ye tamam prapadanti tam stateva bhajamaham mama vartmanu vartanti manushyak varta sarvashaha. As you surrender, I reveal myself accordingly. Yes. And everyone is following my path. Yes. This is very important.
And it will by time also reveal your spiritual identity, your eternal identity?
Yes, of course. And this is not just revealed, this is hankered after. We should understand this. Because usually I see that devotees don't consider that our goal depends on our sadhana, on our consciousness. An example given in Shastra is this wasp. Have you heard about wasp? Wasp? Yes, wasp. What's the German? Wespe. The wasp captures an insect and drags it into its nest. It's in Bhagavatam, this explanation, in 11th canto. Avaduta Brahmana explains to Maharaj Yadu. And this insect is so afraid of wasp that he meditates day and night about the wasp. Yes, because he's so afraid. And at the end, he become a wasp himself. So it depends on our meditation. What is our Swarupa also. Yes. And that's why we have this process of chanting Hare Krishna, because it's most intimate mantra, connection with Krishna. With this consciousness that which was brought to us by Lord Chaitanya. Yes, and it's explained by Lord Chaitanya, by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Lord Chaitanya received 2 things from every sampradaya, because he brought together all sampradayas. From Madhva sampradaya, he accepted 2 things, namely the defeat of Mayavada and worship only of Krishna. as we said before, that only Krishna should be our Lord. So this Lord Chaitanya accepted this from Madhva Sampradaya. Yes, and from Sri Sampradaya, Ramanujacharya, he accepted two things: pure devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti, and service of the devotees. So, of course, all these things are essential for our spiritual development. That we reject Mayavada, that means desire for liberation, and desire for liberation means also desire to avoid pain in our life, because pain, this avoidance of pain, relief from pain, is also desire for liberation, or desire for inconveniences and other things. Yes. So, and of course, to accept Krishna as our only Lord, by, as in Sri Sampradaya, by pure devotional service. And pure devotional service is Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Navritam Anukulena Krishna Nushilanam Bhakti Ruttama. That means Anya Bilashita Shunyam, that we have no other desire than serve Krishna. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Navritam, that this knowledge of oneness with the Lord doesn't cover our bhakti and karma, that our activities in our life doesn't cover our bhakti. That means our activities and our knowledge should be guided by bhakti, and we should be favorable to the Lord, anukulyena Krishna anushilanam, and strive to please Krishna in every way. This is Uttama Bhakti, this is pure devotional service. And then, of course, service of the devotees, as we know from Shastra, that serving devotees is even higher than serving Krishna himself. It's most pleasing to the Lord. Yes, and from Rudra Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, he accepted two things. First, complete dependence on Krishna's mercy, that we don't depend on anything else, we depend on Krishna in all our life. And the other thing is Raga Bhakti. That means we strive for Raga Bhakti. This is our Sampradaya. It's not Vaidhi Bhakti, our Sampradaya, it's Raga Bhakti, our Sampradaya. But we should know this, the difference, what is Vaidhi and what is Raga. Because outside, what is seen is following the rules, is Vaidhi Bhakti. But inside, we should develop pure attachment to Krishna. Yes. So this is the path of Raganuga, is to follow instructions according to rules and regulations, but to develop deep attachment to Krishna in our heart. Yes. Then from Kumara Nimbarka Sampradaya, the Lord Chaitanya accepted two things again, and this is exclusive shelter of Srimati Radharani and Gopi Bhava. And what does it mean for us? Complete shelter at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. As we said before, she's Prema Rupa. She's the embodiment of love. So we should seek complete shelter of love, of pure love of Krishna, so that we strive to do everything out of this love for Krishna. And Gopi Bhava means that the main task of the gopis, the main duty of the gopis, is to connect Radha and Krishna. So, because we know that every living entity is emanation of Radha, in fact, of the Radharani, because we are Shakti, we are not Krishna. We are Krishna's part because everything emanates from Krishna, even Radharani emanates from Krishna. But all Shaktis emanate from Radharani. So we are also emanating from Radharani, and every living entity emanates from Radharani. So we should try, this is our preaching mission, try to connect Radharani with Krishna. Every living entity, every part and parcel of Radharani that we connect with Krishna. Yes. And this is Gopi Bhava. Yes. Okay. We'll have break now. It's okay? Or is there any other question? Or we'll continue after the break?
Maybe I have a question about this love that we feel for Krishna, and that we can become very emotional, and this can also be tension inside, that this love can cause hard feelings. How to deal with this?
Hard feelings in what way?
In what it is to feel this love and to become very emotional. Should we suppress this, like to become more calm?
No. we should cultivate this loving relationship with Krishna, loving heart towards Krishna, because this is our goal. It's not our goal to be calm. Mother Yashoda is never calm. She's always worrying for Krishna.
Also, Radha, isn't she like the queen of being also like a little angry at Krishna because she loves him, and when he loves him well, and
Yes, of course. Radharani is also not calm. She's never calm.
It's because sometimes I see during like bhajan or kirtan or lecture also, people suddenly become to cry. So I see these devotees, they are sitting and they start to cry. I was often thinking, why are they crying? You know, I believe that the reason can be different, but I believe that mostly people begin because they feel this strong love inside.
Yes, there are two reasons for crying. One reason is, as you said, because of love of Krishna, because you are so much attached to Krishna that you cry because of this. Other reason for crying is also because you find yourself so miserable because you're not connected to Krishna. Or this is also one way of to be moved to tears. Hare Krishna. But of course, we should try to develop our emotions towards Krishna, not artificially, of course, but with this understanding, as we will discuss this further today also. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol.